July 9th, regular school board meeting of the Henry County Public School Board. And we'll ask Mrs. Overby to do the roll call.
Reverend Offer, Dr. Gavard,
Present.
Ms. Flanagan,
Present.
Ms. Maddox,
Present.
Mr. Miller,
Here.
Dr. Stambaugh,
Here.
Mr. Sayers.
Present.
Thank you.
The agenda has been presented to you earlier so that you might review it, and I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda for today's meeting. Please raise your right hand if you agree. I'd like to welcome our staff and visitors this morning. We're always glad to see Paul back. He was away from us for a while, and so we're glad to have him back with us today, too. This morning, I would like to ask if Mr. Milner would do the invocation and Mrs. Flanagan would pray this morning.
Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you, dear Lord, for the Henry County School Board, and we thank you, dear Lord, for the members. We thank you for the school system. We thank you, dear Lord, for the success. And dear Lord, we pray that you'll just continue to bless us and do what is right in the best interest of our students, our staff, and our parents. Bless us and we shall be blessed. Bless us through this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a speaker who asked to be put on the agenda for this morning, but that individual is not here. Awards and recognition. Now, when we don't have any students, we can't have that, can we? And there's information agenda also. The consent agenda this morning has a lot of regular items that we usually have, the minutes, the payment of the bills, and this time we have several approvals for the contracts with various agencies that serve our special education people, and also several renewals or approvals of contracts with technology situations. And I know that Mrs. Wells and Mrs. Copenhagen were both here. If you have questions about those, you might ask.
Yes, Madam Chair, these are yearly subscriptions and contracts that we put in place each year. That's why they're under consent. But if there are any questions, we'd be glad to answer any of those.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Under the action agenda, approval of memorandum of understanding with the Piedmont Governor School. Mrs. Gray.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chairman and members of the board. Henry County Schools currently has 37 slots in the Piedmont Governor School for Math, Science, and Technology. The Governor School is funded through the Department of Education, as well as the participating schools, which include Henry County, Martinsville City, Pennsylvania County, and Danville City. Each division is required to sign a 2-year memorandum of understanding, which confirms that we will commit to the slots that we've been allocated, we will pay the tuition, and one of the members of our school board will sit on the Governor's School Board. It is recommended that we continue, that we approve the memorandum of understanding and the tuition for Governor's School for the 2015-16 school year. That tuition is set this year at $122,322. Do you have any questions?
Are we not having Fletcher County to come back as of yet?
Not that I have been made aware of.
Yeah, that. There was discussion that Patrick County was going to join us for this upcoming year, but my understanding is they weren't able to do that based on budgetary constraints. I think Mr. Zaire, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And they are going to continue to discuss it for maybe the future, but for this upcoming year, they're not going to be able to be a part of that. But they are open and interested in coming back at some point if their budget could support it.
Since it's a very popular program and very successful program, have we given any thoughts to perhaps expanding it? Do we have students that want to go that there's not spaces for?
There's an application process, so basically invitations are sent out from the governor's school to the students who meet certain criteria, and then those students apply and go through a rigorous application process, and then there are students who do not make the final cut to the 37 slots every year. So there are students that are not accepted. However, there are other programs for those students, such as the ACE Academy and the dual enrollment that we offer at both high schools.
But we've never explored the possibility of expanding it.
Right. I do know when it first started, we only had 30 slots, and now we're up to 37. But I'm sure that's a conversation we could have with Mr. Pace, and I know currently if Mr. Zaire and Dr. Cotton attend the meetings for the governor's school, that they could just have those discussions about what that would involve as far as expanding it.
It's really interesting to know what the community thought of it and what the school systems that involved thought of it, because it's a very popular program, and to the best of my knowledge, it's very successful. So we need to capitalize on our success.
I think in the past, we have bought slots from other school systems if
If they're unused.
You know, if we needed to. So I'm sure that if we wouldn't be turning anybody away if that was
Right.
possible.
Right.
For a period of time, we were given additional slots at no extra cost, but due to budget constraints, starting this past year, we were charged for those extra slots. But I know that Mr. Pace still does try to give each school division a small number of additional, but they have to stay within the staffing student ratio. So they try to give additional positions. But if we did expand, it would require potentially additional space as well as additional staff. So that will lead to additional cost to each of the localities. So, but I think it's certainly worth discussing because we do have a waiting list for these programs.
Perhaps Mr. Collins will help us out in that and see what the public thinks about it.
Are the seats allocated to divisions on a proportional basis,
Yes, sir.
depending on the total enrollment of the
Yes,
state?
sir. And we do. I know we have more. I know we have more than we started with, and I think we have more than most of the other divisions.
And we're still the fiscal agent for it.
Yes, sir, we are.
Any other questions, Mr. Ayler?
Move we approve the memorandum of understanding with the governor's school.
Second.
You want to add the tuition?
Pardon?
You want to add the tuition?
Yes, ma'am. Amend my motion to add the tuition.
Okay. We need to pay for it. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the memorandum of understanding and the budget for the governor's school for 2015-16. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Oh, Janet, you've got a bunch. Approval of second-year lease payment for third and fourth grade tablets.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board. Last year we established a 4-year computer tablet lease purchase for our third and fourth grade students to start a sustainability program. We're trying to make sure that we can just keep our programs going on. So I'm recommending that we approve the second payment of the 4-year lease, and its physical impact is $134,150, and this does come out of our textbook fund.
I move to approve the second-year lease payment for the third and
seconded to approve, the second payment for the 4-year lease without tax for the, elementary. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Quick question. With the increased use of computers and all this, how is this affecting our textbook fund? You saving money?
The unfortunate thing is it's not really a savings because these digital textbooks, they tend to cost just as much as the physical textbooks, but where we benefit is the supplemental materials as well as the updates that happen in a timely manner. You can't update a textbook yearly. Once you purchase that, you pretty much keep it for several years. And with the online digital textbooks, they're updated. They can be updated more than yearly throughout the year. But the other thing that you'll notice is we're very fortunate in Virginia that we can use our textbook fund for this because all of our textbooks in elementary are digital. So we're able to tap into that fund, and we're trying to see how that goes because we need to make sure that we plan for future textbook adoptions so we don't hinder ourselves moving forward. But what we found when you say this is Copenhagen, it's been positive, moving in this direction. We haven't really saved a lot, have we?
Well, the savings comes from the fact that usually textbook adoptions are 7 years, and you have to replace a lot of those printed textbooks each year, and with this you do not have to replace those. So that's the savings we've found so far.
Mr. Bullins is going to update us on the new elementary school to serve the Collinsville Attendance Center.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Maddox and members of the board. My purpose today is to give you a brief update on the new proposed Collinsville Elementary School. A request for proposal was recently issued to establish a contract for professional architectural and engineering design services to assist Henry County Public Schools with the design and construction of a new elementary school. 8 firms responded, and a committee consisting of Tim Pace, Leonard Price, Elmer Martin, Keith Scott, and myself reviewed and selected 5 firms to be interviewed. This past Tuesday, we interviewed those 5 firms. Negotiations will now begin with the top selected firm. At the end of the negotiation process, a recommendation of the selected firm will be brought to the school board for your approval in August, along with a request to approve a contract for design fees to begin the planning and design phase of the new Collinsville School. Do you have any questions about anything?
Dr. Cotton, my understanding is that these firms charge a percent of whatever contractor gets the final bid.
Some ranges like 5.5% to 8%, somewhere in that category. Is that correct?
The design fee is generally between 5.5% to 8% of
Yes,
the
sir.
total cost of the building. And the reason that initially I had planned on bringing the firm selected for approval, but we didn't want to do that today because we want to be able to negotiate the design fees, and we certainly want to be on the lower end of that percentage. So,
Amen.
That's why we're not naming any particular firm today, but I did feel it was important for Mr. Bullins to tell you what they are, because this is such an important project that we need to keep this on the agenda, because I want you to be fully informed. And in August, our hope is to come back with the recommendation for the firm to do the design work, as well as a cost for the design work that we'll have to ask for the additional appropriation from the Board of Supervisors. And just as a reminder, the Board of Supervisors did approve a reimbursement resolution, meaning that they can provide us with the funds so that we can move forward with the work, with the understanding that when our financing comes through, they can get reimbursed that amount. So that the important thing about that is it doesn't delay the design work and the project waiting for financing is essentially what happens. So in August, my plan is to bring to you the recommendation for the firm.
The firm plus the contract.
Price for the design work that we'll ask for an additional appropriation from the county for that cost.
So you guys on the
certainly tried, yes, sir.
Taxpayers some money.
Yes, sir.
Blame the school board. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Just an update at this time.
All right. Thank you.
Selection of delegate and alternate to represent Henry County Public Schools at the delegate assembly session for the 2015 DSTA.
Yes, Madam Chair, in accordance with the bylaws of the Virginia School Boards Association, a school board in good standing, which we are, will be entitled one vote in all meetings of the association. A voting delegate and an alternate has to be selected for membership on this board. And what we've done in the past is we have designated the chair as well as the vice chair as an alternate for this role. And my recommendation is to continue with that unless the board has another idea on how to handle that. But either way, we need to get approval to designate someone to serve in that capacity.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the administrative recommendation relative to delegates to the Virginia School Board Association Delegate Assembly. I suppose that is in November. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Superintendent has some monthly highlights today.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm happy to share some highlights related to summer learning opportunities across the county. We have a lot of great things going on, and I know we had an article recently in the bulletin about our Explore Camp, but I want to talk to you about some of the other programs as well. The first one is Letting the Scene Unfold. At Axton Elementary, students are using Lego Build to express kids to enhance details and detail the descriptions in their writing during English language arts enrichment. Many work to develop original stories focused on scene and characters and created these during their builds. Math is a piece of cake. Students at Campbell Court are working in small groups to practice matching and counting as they work to strengthen math skills this summer. In addition to the academic focus, tasks accomplished at rotating stations include activities to enhance both fine and gross motor skills. A new twist on vocabulary. Council primary students are working to expand their vocabularies in a variety of ways, including the use of vocabulary games adapted from traditional games they already know. Twister vocabulary was a class favorite as students in Mrs. Ward's class collaborated to test their knowledge. The science of slime. Bet you didn't know there was a science to that. Students at Drury Mason Elementary are practicing the importance of following the steps of conducting an experiment in science. Using provided instructions, students worked in small groups to use glue, water, and some mystery ingredients to create and analyze slime. Fostering a love of literature. Second and third grade students at G.W. Carver worked hard this month as they concentrated on language arts skills. Each day was spent reading with the teacher, reading independently, and finding evidence within reading passages to support answers to the comprehension questions. Students also created stories using their iPads and kept a daily writing journal. Sharpening reading skills. Sandville students have been sharing their favorite stories and practicing reading skills this month. By working in small group reading circles, each student has had the opportunity to discuss content vocabulary and stories shared by their peers, as well as share their expertise on their favorite stories. It's hot outside, but math skills are cool. As temperatures soared outside, math skills heated up at Stanley County Elementary during the summer school session. Students headed outdoors to review skills taught during the past school year. Some partnered up to bowl using tennis balls and plastic cups to create and answer subtraction problems. Another group put their skills to the test in a unique way using water balloons to answer flashcard relays. Each solved a math problem by throwing a water balloon in the hoop or target, showcasing the correct answer. Exploration of skills. Explore Camp is taking place this week for students in grades 4 through 8 at FC Middle School. Students are participating in courses such as robotics, drama, gaming, cooking, and crafts, as well as taking field trips to local businesses as they learn about careers in their fields of interest. The week of camp will conclude with a family cookout to showcase student work, and that takes place this evening. And you all are invited to join us for the family cookout this evening at 6:30, I want to say, right, at FC Middle. Making it an active summer, Lower Park Middle School is hosting our second annual summer activities camp for district middle school students this summer. Each week, students participate in group and individual games and activities, as well as spend time participating in courses to learn more about being strong, healthy students. And finally, grammatically speaking, high school students are spending some of their time this summer participating in enrichment as they prepare to take SOL tests and the SAT. Small group and individual review sessions are ensuring that each student feels confident and does his or her best on each of these important measures. So, Madam Chair, members of the board, I wanted you to know that we are busy in the summer, continuing to learn. As you can see, our focus on reading and mathematics, and we want to keep our students actively learning throughout the summer, and we have a lot going on.
Very good. Okay, and there are several other items that Mr. Patton always gives us a report on monthly. Any questions for him about those? Are there matters from the board today? Well, Mr. Miller, had you on the agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't here. What is the pleasure of the board?
I hope that you'll forgive me. I had a pastoral.
It is not my choice to make.
We're supposed to say that. Well, I hope you'll please forgive me. I had a pastoral matter to come up that I needed to attend to, and so that was my reason.
Let Mr. Miller, Reverend Miller, address it.
All right.
Sir, second. All in favor?
Madam Chairman and board members, and
Remember your timeline.
was it 20 minutes? All right. And Mr. Superintendent and Ms. Overby and everyone else. I have to mention Ms. Overby because she is a vital link to communications to the system, and I appreciate that very much. The context of my being here this morning, I had a rather animated, excited, and engaging discussion with Mr. Superintendent. It was pleasant, but also a bit tense, and both irritating to both of us at times. But at the end of it, we both agreed that it was very profitable, and that there was nothing except a pledge of mutuality between the two of us. And the light went off with the superintendent, and he said, well, and I won't tell him what all he said, but he said the light must have went off, because he said, well, how would you like to come to the board? I would say, I would be delighted. So I have recrafted my remarks to think out loud with you, because some of the things I said to him bear upon the responsibility of the board. And I would like to think of it in terms of possibilities for community engagement. I visited one of the schools this morning at 7 o'clock and discovered a couple of things that I didn't know. There is a wonderful garden at Ashland Middle School. I did not know that. And see, this was partly what I was telling the superintendent, if you don't mind, is that many of the good things that are happening in the school, good folks like myself don't know anything about it. And therefore we cannot be a mouthpiece and a broadcast for you. And so I am suggesting that the system make sure that they have a list of whomever you consider to be a communication link in the community, and on a regular basis feed them the things that you're proud of, and feed them the things that you think represent the school. And so I'm saying that is a wonderful partnership between a church, or an organization in the community to work in collaboration with the students at whatever age that are working in that, and that can be a wonderful relationship. But also, hunger is a great problem in the community, and I understand that that used to be a thriving garden, but now is rather limited because they didn't have anybody to work. Now, this is what was told to me. And said they used to have cucumbers and tomatoes and stuff that they were drying up. They couldn't use them. Well, again, that would be a way for the school to link with another interest in the community. You also can be providing food that could help the food pantry. So that, to me, I say, well, that makes the statement that I'm trying to make. And that really is the big statement that I want to make, is that there's many possibilities for engagement between the schools and the community, and I would encourage the board to lift its profile a little bit. But the second thing that I said is that the board and the board activity is too quiet. I said, I never seen nothing, everything, all in favor, aye. Go on to the third, I'm all in favor, aye. The board has an opportunity to exhibit what you are asking the teachers to teach. That is, the students to think critically. You can do that by having some extra time and saying, Miss Matters, I hear what you're saying, but I am saying you could create an exhibit for the public. That the board is a thinking, critical, process, and that is what we are trying to do with the students. And so you could lift the profile a little bit. I know this community is a laid-back community. I'm from the loudest thing here. But you could lift up your profile a little bit. You could have a question about something. I said, look like to me, I said this. I think of what I said to the Mr. Superintendent. If everything is rubber stamped, something else ain't right. If everything is a rubber stamp, something ain't right. Either the superintendent is so smart that he duped you, or you are so dumb that you didn't know what he was talking about. And you could be an exercise. And then thirdly, I said that there needs to be more community input. So he said the board is community input. Well, I ask you, when do the board go out to the community and talk about anything? When does the board hold a community forum and say, these are some of the issues, these are some of the problems? So I'm just asking that if you're the representative of the community, then when do you come back to the community and report what's happening and what's on the agenda? That again could be a way to energize the energy and also create a connection between the community and the school. And the fourth point is, I think that I remember, and the superintendent can correct me, is that the most important staff member or person in the school is the person who is in charge of education at the building level. And I know this might be, and I don't want to say what I said publicly because I don't want to, have no remarks and there was no reflection. But I'm saying is that the best folk you have ought to stay at the building level as part of instruction. And for my money, I'm just telling you what is that because there where the rubber hits the road is in the classroom and at the school building, because there are the students. And who should get the best of what's happening? The students. And then finally, I say the reason you need to lift your profile a little bit, that you ought to help the community, that they always would say, education is priority. I don't care what's going on in the community. Education is priority. whether you're building buildings or whether you expanding the jail or whatever else is on the agenda, always it should be said, and always for a community education. And I think that you could help by being out a little bit more and expressing that in order that we would have a uniform and unanimous opinion that education is more important than anything else in Marvin and Henry County. And if education and public education does not work, is not successful, then everything else is retarded. That's for my money. I don't know about anybody else's. Education. I am here today as a pretty good representation because I was prepared and educated in Henry County schools. I went on to Johnson C. Smith and did very well. I went on to Harvard and made B. And somebody said, how? And what I said, I was prepared in Henry County Public Schools. That should be the opportunity of every student, black or white, have or not have, in town or out of town. Got some and them got nothing. They ought to leave with the preparation of their mind. Either they go further to college or they'll be able to get a job and represent good citizenship, represent a good investment. And that ought to be a conversation that you ought to help lead that goes all around in this community. So I thank you and God bless you.
Ms. Bill, I did want to make a comment. With our agendas and our rubber stamping our agenda items, we get our agenda early. If we have any questions, we don't wait until the day of the meeting to get those questions answered. We call ahead and figure out, what's going on, how we want to proceed and everything. So we do not.
Okay. I appreciate that. But let some of it happen in here so the folks will know that you're awake and have an interest in what's being voted on.
We're out in the community. I was at a meeting on Monday night at Sandville versus, the Dollar General selling alcohol across the street from our school. And, we're out in the community talking to people and listening to information. So,
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We do have some reminder of dates coming up. Our strategic planning meeting is a surprise, I guess. But it's a little bit different, I think, from what we've done in the past. So I hope it'll be a good time for all of us. Our convocation is August the 4th, and our regular school board meeting is 2 days later on the 6th, and then, of course, our September meeting. There are several conferences coming up. The leadership, the Conference on Education, where we have several of our individuals presenting, is in July the 21st at the Marriott. The SBO Legislative Advocacy Conference is in Charlottesville in September, and there will be a Hot Topics Conference. I don't believe we had a topic for that yet.
I don't think I've seen it, but that may be the one that I've already been asked to serve on the panel. I think that's the October 2nd. They're doing a technology panel that I've been asked to serve as one of the superintendents. So that means you all have to come and join
I see. October 2nd. Okay, and then the annual conference in Williamsburg in November. We need to move into closed session to address several issues this morning. Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1, appointment and separation of personnel and evaluation of superintendent. subsection 2.23711A2, student matters. And 2.2-3711A7, legal matters. Is there a motion to go into executive session at this time?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to go into closed session. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Off you go. I'll entertain the motion to return to regular session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor of returning to regular session, please raise your right hand. This certification.
Whereas the School Board of Henry County has convened a closed meeting of this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded code and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712.d of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting is conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the School Board of Henry County hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Dr. DeVault?
Yes.
Ms. Maddox?
Yes.
Mr. Milner?
Yes.
Dr. Stanbaugh?
Yes.
And Mr. Zayer?
Yes.
Thank you.
We do have some motions coming out of closed session. Mr. Miller, personnel report.
Madam Chairman, I offer motion that the personnel report plus addendum be approved as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel report and the addendum to that report. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Yes, thank you. We also have a special placement recommendation. Mr. Miller?
I offer motion that the special placement report be approved as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the special placement report, which includes the out-of-district students coming into our school division. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed? Okay. Dr. DeVault has case 45-1.
Madam Chairman, I move in student case 45R that the student have his expulsion lifted with permission to attend Bassett High School contingent on meeting the required conditions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the return of the student to Bassett High School. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And case 1RE-16, Dr. Stanbaugh.
In student case number 1RE-16, I move that the student be released from compulsory attendance under 22.1-254B.1 of the Code of Virginia based on the affidavit or declaration submitted to the school board.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request for student 1RE-16. All in favor, please raise your right hand. If there is no further business at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, please raise your right hand.